Good morning. Alrighty, Esoteric Book Club is an entirely intuitive affair. However, I think it is quite likely that I'm going to start every Esoteric Book Club with a reading from the Tao Te Ching. Today, however, we're going to focus on The Field by Lynn McTaggart. But a little intro first. Now, remember, you are the entire universe, and your body is like a cell in the body of the universe. And visualize yourself giving love to the universe, and the universe giving love to yourself. Yes, I'm asking you to hold two paradoxically contradictory visions in your mind at once. Apparently, for some of you, having an imagination and or empathy is a tall order. But if you found your way this far, I'm assuming you're an evolved human. Yeah, now I mentioned, there's a few things I want to mention, but I'm going to give a more detailed background on the Esoteric Book Club when I've gathered those thoughts more. But yeah, there's more I want to say about Balanced View, more I want to say about Dzogchen Buddhism, and more I want to say about the CIA's declassified documents. But I will save those for another broadcast. Briefly on the Tao Te Ching, it is an ancient Chinese text, and as I mentioned in my introductory video, I first read the Tao Te Ching when I was 12, mainly because after getting confirmed a Christian aged 11, I had more questions than answers about Christianity. And subsequently, religious studies became my favourite subject, and I, at 11, became obsessed with what happens after you die, which was the beginnings of my spiritual quest and quest for enlightenment in general. So I'm going to read some of the introduction of for the Tao Te Ching. It says, pronounce Lao as if it was the last syllable of a Lao. Pronounce Zhu as if it were DZ, leaving off as much U as possible. So the author Lao Tzu is Lao Tzu. Pronounce Dao as in Tao, as in Dao, D-A-D-O-W. Pronounce Te as in D, D-U-H. And pronounce Ching as if it were the first syllable of Jingor. So that's Dao Da Jing. So it's the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. From the introduction, part 1, the Nowness of Scripture. It has become obvious that conventional ways of living are culminating in a violence that, unless forsworn, can eliminate life itself. I'm not sure when this was written, but that's probably always true. It has been assumed that knowledge of such danger is the best preventative of it. But danger grows, not because its consequences are unknown, but because its inward roots are unrecognized. Whatever may be the origins of violence, in general, today's violence is rooted in Western man's habit of persisting in himself, existing in himself, and relating to himself whatever happens. It is shown in his telling other people what to do and failing response of forcing them, trying to force them, or manipulating them. It is displayed in his practice of expressing himself in word and in action, in preference to expressing anything else to any other being. It is demonstrated more obviously in assaults in the streets, arson in the cities, threats and skirmishes among the nations. It is ultimately disclosed in preparations for Armageddon, for which terminal event the nations imbued with notions of self-defense and fears of aggression devise the elimination of vast numbers, if not the whole of mankind. The plan is to prevent wars against the people, but the too likely consequence is eliminating the people. But it may well be that people counted by the head to the number of billions, are likely to be annihilated not in spite of themselves, but because of themselves. It may be that life-obliterating war is the cultural choice of men, women, and children whose inward violence, even if expressed in nothing more than contentiousness at home and competitiveness at work, or, conversely, self-anger and inadequacy at both places, creates the emotional soil for national and international plagues. Certainly, it is unlikely that there will be peace abroad until it is made welcome at home. For even the opposition to violence is filled with violence, the violence of people of apparent goodwill who know no other way of life than doing their own thing and telling other people what to do. Among such people, the inward symptoms of violence often multiply. The confusion, frustration, fear, guilt, self-hate, depression, loneliness, and like distempers of men and women who are at the mercy of their unconscious minds, trained for centuries in the contentious ways of convention. It is not that scientific discovery has outstripped spiritual growth, as so often stated, but that self has dispossessed spirit and confused even the common understanding of reality. We'll get to this common understanding of reality soon and why this is relevant. But there is another way, a way of experiencing reality and living in it. It is a way based on all of reality, all of man's being and all of nature's workings, but not on a partial reality based on self-willed urges to overcome other people and conquer nature. It is a way to overcome violence, socially and personally. Perhaps it can be called the other way, for the ways that work against violence are all the same way. Sometimes there is without form and complete, born between heaven and earth. Bear with me. This here now, I believe, is a quotation from the actual Tao Te Ching. What I've been reading is the introduction. Sometimes there is, without form and complete, born heaven and earth, solitary and vast, standing alone without change, everywhere pervading all things, mothering all beneath heaven. I don't know its name. I style it Tao, and for want of a name call it great. Okay, end of quote. This one way is traced in many and diverse scriptures. It is the word as it came to Moses, to Gautama, to Isaiah, to Muhammad, to Jesus, and to many other prophets who have found the ultimate and sought words to describe their finding. Their way is actually not so difficult to follow as it is hard to locate. It is not now a topic of general conversation, and there are few literary and scholarly productions in which to read about it, although conventional rationalizings abound. That is more than I intended to read about the Tao Te Ching. Yeah, the intro is quite long, so maybe at some point in the near future I'll read the whole introduction. But yeah, I'm just going to read two of my favourite extracts. Maybe three, actually. So the Tao Te Ching is, what is it, 80-something? 81 short verses. I'm going to read you three of my favourites, which is number 1, number 22, and number 23. Chinese being quite different to English, translations can vary quite drastically. So I may revisit some of these. We're nearly at 10 minutes already. Maybe this will just be a 10 minutes about the Tao, and we'll get to Ling McTaggart's The Field in another video. Okay, 1. The Tao can be Taoed. If Tao can be Taoed, it's not Tao. This is the Tao that can be named is not the true Tao. If its name can be named, it's not its name. Has no name, precedes heaven and earth. Has a name, mother of 10,000 things. For it is always dispassionate, see its inwardness. Always passionate, see its outwardness. The names are different, but the source the same. Call the sameness mystery. Mystery of mystery, the door to inwardness. One of the reasons I love the Tao Te Ching so much is because it is so metaphorical and poetic. It's not a list of rules, it's not a list of commandments, it's a poetic exploration of the nature of reality. And it's paradoxical, as is the nature of reality. Always dispassionate, see its inwardness. Always passionate, see its outwardness. Everything is everything. Nothing is anything. Nothing is nothing. Nothing is nothing. Everything is one. All of those phrases are true, yet contradictory. Twist, chapter 22. Twist and get whole. Bend and get straight. Be empty and get filled. Be worn and get renewed. Have little, get much. Have much, get baffled. Therefore the sage holds to the one and becomes beneath heaven's model. He does not show himself, hence he shines. Does not assert himself, hence he is seen. Does not boast his merits, hence he gets credit. Does not vaunt himself, hence he survives. Does not compete with anyone, hence no one beneath heaven can compete with him. The old saying, the twisted shall be made whole, is it not true? Be whole and you will return. I love that notion. Does not compete with anyone, hence no one beneath heaven can compete with him. Okay, chapter 23. Nature speaks little. Squalls do not last the morning, nor downpours the day. What stirs them up? Heaven and earth. Even heaven and earth does not make a long fuss. How much less should men? Therefore he who follows Tao is one with Tao. He who follows virtue is one with virtue. He who courts loss is one with his losses. Tao is glad to get whoever comes to Tao. Virtue is glad to get whoever comes to virtue. Loss is glad to get whoever comes to loss. When you are lacking in trust, others have no trust in you. Reminds me of a law of hermeticism and alchemy in the law of correspondence, which is related to the law of attraction, which is related to the secret. He who follows Tao is one with Tao. He who follows virtue is one with virtue. He who courts loss is one with his losses. Tao is glad to get whoever comes to Tao. Virtue is glad to get whoever comes to virtue. Loss is glad to get whoever comes to loss. When you are lacking in trust, others have no trust in you. And when you distrust, you put out a distrustworthy vibe. Why doesn't he trust people? Does he expect people to be distrustworthy? When you cultivate peace, you attract peace. When you follow virtuous people, you become one with virtue. And when you expect to lose, when you court loss, then you attract the loss vibration. Do I make this a 15-minute video about the Tao? or a longer video about both the Tao and the field. The field is the energy field that we all live in. The field basically gives a scientific basis for the force. Gives a scientific basis for Chi, a scientific basis for prana. It follows quantum physicists on their journeys to understand the universe and on their journeys to explain how the 0 point field, how there's infinite energy in the space between things, in the space within molecules. But yeah, no, I'm, as I said, this is an intuitive venture, and as I'm looking at it, I'm thinking I'm going to donate more time to this than I can at this point. So, yeah, this is just going to be a brief teaser. I shall title the video An Exploration of the Tao, and we'll read more of the intro, and then once I've read the entire intro, I will read it through and record the reading. I think I may get another translation of it as well, so I can explore it in yet more detail. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this has been an edition of Esoteric Book Club. I've been your host, KP Kev the Poet, and there shall be more. Immense love, infinite love and gratitude. Breathing energy into my belly. Love for my inner child into my lower chest. Love for the entire universe into my upper chest. Pausing to relax as everything. Exhaling as the entire universe. Filling my belly with energy. Filling my chest with love for myself and the universe. Relaxing as everything. Exhaling as everything. Love you guys and girls. Peace.